This is DJ Lisa Guitar, and you're listening to the Valley Star Podcast. Angela Darpinian. So question number one, how did you get started with art?
My grandfather, he inspired me the most, I would say. When I was in my elementary years, I remember visiting him, and he would often just sit in front of his canvas and just paint whatever's on his mind and let his creativity explode. So I would go into his room and just sneak in and see what he's doing. And from there, he would teach me how to paint and how to draw and just let myself out through the art. And just, it stayed inside of me, I guess. And then as the years went by, I started watching YouTube videos of people drawing animated characters, fictional characters, Mario, my favorites. And from there, I would just take a piece of paper and start drawing, pausing the video, then drawing, looking at the lines, drawing, and then I would just practice and practice. These things take time, it's not, no one's perfect at it. It takes a lot of learning and a lot of patience. So then I started drawing people, the famous figures from history and some inspirational people that I admire. So I would just draw them, and it started from there. So now I'm getting used to acrylic paint, and but now I really like black and white drawing, just using pencils.
Do you have a philosophy on art? And if so, what is that?
Just to be yourself, honestly. There's no right or wrong answer in art. You do whatever you think is best. You let your creativity, your imagination flow on any medium it may be. And if anyone judges your artwork, they critique it in a negative way, that just means that they fail to understand it. I think every artwork has its own story and it's limitless. So I hope a lot of people understand that, because there's some goodness in the art, even if it's a sad depiction or some sad backstory within the art. People need to understand where that comes from, or how did that emerge, how did that happen. Just to be yourself, people need to express themselves in any way, any format, and art is the perfect way to showcase that.
And it can be a way of healing.
Yeah, of course. Meditating, understanding yourself, practicing more.
Okay. Who are your biggest artistic inspirations?
Oh my goodness. I have so many, to be honest. I truly admire Leonardo da Vinci. Mm-hmm. I really love his artworks and the journals that he wrote back then. Vincent van Gogh, Michelangelo, Giovanni, all the greats. Nowadays, it really doesn't matter for me. Any artwork that I can connect with, any artist that I can connect with from their story and from how they've started pursuing the arts, that's what inspires me. And if I can connect that on a spiritual level and just feel that within my heart and truly understand it in depth, then that's what's inspiring. Any art is inspiring. But those artists that I mentioned, they're really the masters. People need to follow them. And there's so many more. I can't just think of them on the top of my head, but the top ones are definitely them. Yeah.
Your family and friends supportive of you being an artist? Yeah,
definitely my family. I wouldn't say my relatives, but that's a different story. My mom, my dad, definitely, my brother, they are aware of the gift that I have, I guess you could say. Just the enjoyment that I get out of art and how I do it often. And whenever I'm in the mood, I would just take out my sketchbook and draw whatever is pleasing, whatever's on my mind. For instance, if I want to draw Charlie Chaplin, I would find an image and just draw him. Just carefully line for line. If I make any mistakes, I will analyze it. I have to look at the image and just visualize it on the paper, and then just slowly outline it and look at the eyes. I'd say the eyes are the hardest to draw, because you need to be able to look at the person. When the art is finished, you need to be able to look at that person and recognize him or her and see if he or she's recognizable. So that's the hardest. The mouth, all those facial features, it's really difficult. So whenever I'm in the mood, I would just find someone that I admire and just draw them out. Yeah, mainly the facial features, just getting them to be top notch, to to look perfect, to match the actual person that you're drawing. Landscapes are definitely hard. Any sort of object, if you're drawing something three-dimensional, of buildings, chairs, those furniture, it's really hard.
What's the easiest part of art?
Easiest is just splattering colors. You use paint, just throw it all out there, on the canvas, just splattering it. That's the easiest, like letting that imagination flow. But when you're drawing a certain person, you're drawing a certain object, you want it to match the image, the actual image, from the screen to the paper. That's difficult. It's definitely not easy. Hair is easy. It's getting easier for me to draw. I could say that. The neck, the shading is sort of easy. A lot of shading. Yeah, you got to use paper towels for that, or your fingers. There's a lot of techniques, and it takes a lot of practice. I wouldn't say anything is easy, but if you just want to make splatter paint and just use your paintbrush to splatter the paint all over, that's easy. It's just using colors.
Where do you see the future of art?
It's progressing. Honestly, contemporary art, it's getting weirder and weirder, just more interesting, more fascinating. Everything is becoming more anew to the public. It's not traditional as it was before. We should appreciate traditional art, at the same time appreciate the newer arts. Those weird arts when you walk into the modern contemporary museums, and you're thinking, what is that? Why are there knives, or why is there blood, or those sorts of things. So if you see those, appreciate those too. But it's definitely expanding. Like, it's getting better, more creative. Any format is acceptable. It's not being judged unless you do something completely out of the ordinary and something that's bizarre. You're gonna expect a lot of judgments, but hey, that's art, you gotta appreciate it.
So I know that art can vary from region to region. So like, what is art like in your country? Like traditional art, or maybe even modern art?
I recently went to Armenia last year with my mom during the summer, and there was this children's art museum, historical Armenian genocide art museum. There was even a museum where all countries, all nationalities, the children, the youth in those countries, they've donated their artworks all over just to that one museum in Armenia, and that was fascinating. There was Bolivia, there was China, France, India, you name it, all kinds of countries. Just a lot of diversity. Their artwork is very diverse. There's even a Russian art museum. There's this national Armenia museum, like in the center of the Republic Square, that has a lot of artworks there. They use a lot of acrylic, a lot of oil on canvas. Everything is fascinating there. You'd find inspirational features in their arts. Like everything, there's some artworks that look three-dimensional, and you're wondering, wow, how did they do that from years ago, And it fascinates you. There's pomegranates, there's people in traditional Armenian clothing, how the Armenian lifestyle was in the early 1900s or earlier on before that. There's even religious art, like churches, and you'd find a lot of biblical symbolism in the arts. A lot of portraits. There's a lot of portraits in Armenian art. Portraits of historical people, ancestors.
What are some opportunities here at Valley College that you want to share, and how would students find out more about being part of that?
I'd tell them to get themselves out there, just to get them recognized, and speak to the art department, get them connected as much as they can, visit the art gallery, talk with ASU, just be involved as much as you can, showcase your arts, come up with an event idea and just propose it to ASU, get it approved, and see if you could be able to showcase it on campus. Bring your arts. It's possible that you could sell your artworks on campus as a professional, but you'd have to get that approved with ASU. Just come up with anything, honestly. Like, if you want to get yourself out there, you got to do as much as you can to become a well-known artist and have people recognize who you really are and what your talents are, what your gifts are. Mm-hmm. But be humble at the same time. Don't brag. We're all humans. Photography is definitely one of those artworks that need to be paid attention to more. It's like you're with photography, it's like you're painting but with your eyes. It's handless, you know? All you got to do is just take one press of the button and there you go, you have your canvas. I love the kind of art where, have you ever seen those acrylic paintings where there's so much paint and it's like sticking out, like it's like clunky chunky paint on the canvas and you can touch it.
I like that.
I
Yeah.
I love that. I love it when it's three-dimensional, it's sticking out, or something that stands out and you want to touch it, but you're not allowed to. I know that it's forbidden. A lot of art galleries, you go there, obviously they're not going to let you touch the artworks.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I have touched some paintings because it's so fascinating. It lures you in. You're curious. You want to touch it. You want to know how it feels. It's incredible. And then they're like, no, you got to stand behind the line. You can't touch this or something. It's for, we never, ever touch paintings. And I'm just like, well, it's curious, you know, like broken vinyls, shattered vinyl. I went to this one art store in Vegas and there were shattered vinyls of, yeah, there was this artist that broke vinyl pieces and made portraits of Marilyn Monroe, Frank Sinatra, Louis Armstrong, who else, just those, the greats, Elvis, Michael Jackson. Yeah, so I saw one and I wanted to touch it because it felt so cool. Like it was three-dimensional art and you want to touch it, right? So I wanted to touch it, and then the manager came behind me and he yelled, "No, don't touch it. We don't ever touch artworks like that, so don't ever do that." And I turned red. I felt so embarrassed. I'm like, oh geez, I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have done that. And I left. But like I said, those kinds of artworks, they fascinate you. You want to touch it. You want to know how it feels
I
when
think
it's
if the artist
three-dimensional.
lets you do it, then like it's fine.
As long as you don't break anything and you don't have oily fingers.
hands
Yeah,
or
of
something.
course. Yeah, that's it.
What is the word for art in Armenian?
Art in Armenian means arvest.
Arvest?
Yeah,
How would you spell that in English?
arvest. ARVEST. Hi, my name is Angela Darpinian. I'm the new Commissioner of Fine Arts from ASU. Ah!